That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Come On, Come On, the fourth film directed by Mike Mills, which premiered at the Telluride Film Festival this year, and A24 is releasing November 19th, 2021.
The day before your birthday.
Yeah.
What a treat. You saw this last week?
Yes, amongst a flurry of other films.
I didn't attend.
No.
I don't even recall this film. But we haven't recorded a video in over a week.
Yeah, it's been
So it feels interesting right now. Feels like so long. I will provide a summary though.
because I can't be trusted, I guess.
Well, first off, this is a drama starring Joaquin Phoenix. Who directed it?
Mike Mills.
Where do we know him from?
You are familiar with, one, he's married to Miranda July, which must be, I bet they'd be fun to talk to. We reviewed her last film,
I thought you were going to say I would love to be married to her.
No. We reviewed her last film, Cajillionaire.
Oh, I did enjoy that movie.
Old Dolio Doyle. Mike Mills' first film was Thumbsucker back in 2005, which I remember really liking. I haven't seen in a while, with Tilda Swinton. And you were at the premiere of Beginners back in 2010, for which Christopher Plummer won his Oscar.
As an old homosexual.
Yes, who was very good in that film. And then his last movie was 20th Century Women, which I liked for the most part. I thought was a little uneven, but a really great role for Annette Bening, who I think is wonderful in it.
Great. Okay. Joaquin plays like a radio journalist, and he's working, so it's modern time. Where is it set? Like, where's his home?
It starts out in Detroit, but it takes place he's traveling all over.
Yeah, but he is from Detroit.
No.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Well, like, where does it start? Like, where is he?
It starts in Detroit while he's on an assignment, but it takes place in Los Angeles, New York, and New Orleans.
Where's his home?
It's not specified.
Okay, he's a radio journalist working on a project where he's interviewing young people, like kids, asking them about their thoughts on the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he calls his sister one day just to check in on her.
Played by Gaby Hoffmann.
And we find out they're estranged, somewhat. So he hasn't spoken to her in a while.
He hasn't spoken to her in a year because it's the anniversary of their mother's death.
Okay. So he calls her to see what's up, and she's like, oh, I'm kind of stressed out because my ex-husband, who suffers from bipolar disorder, is having a rough time where he is, and I need to go help him. So Joaquin is like, well, who's going to watch your little 9-year-old son, my nephew?
Jesse.
And she's like, well, I don't know. And he offers. Mm-hmm. So he goes
to LA
to watch this little boy. So that's happening when old girl calls and says, oh, my ex is like in worse shape than I thought. I need to stay even longer.
In Oakland.
So Joaquin says, well, I need to continue my investigative reporting stuff. So I'm going to have to take the little boy with me. So they go on this little journey from place to place. And basically it ends with, because during their travels, Joaquin is communicating with his sister about dealing with her son and her dealing with her ex-husband. They hash out why they are estranged, which is because as children, the mom favored him over her, and then when she was going through her marital troubles, he gave her advice that led to them breaking up, and maybe she resents that. So they kind of patch that up and get closer. Then Joaquin and his nephew sort of bond. Mm-hmm. So in the end, it seems like things are better than when they started. And that's basically it.
Yeah.
The title of the film, Come On, Come On, comes from the little boy,
Jesse,
is kind of playing with the equipment, the interview equipment. So he's listening. He likes to listen to all the people talking. And one of the questions that they're asking is where, what do you think the future is going to be like? Mm-hmm. And the little boy says, oh, the future is just come on, come on.
You got to keep it moving.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I know. Okay, when you described it, my first thought was, okay, this feels like a pretty layered story that I think would be perfect on a Sunday afternoon, a rainy day in a cute theater, an early afternoon showing, and then after it's done, have a nice early dinner somewhere close by because I don't want to walk in the rain. But so it seemed cute.
Sure.
That's it. Go ahead.
It's a melancholic film. It's shot in black and white. It looks beautiful.
Oh, the film's in black and white?
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful film to look at. Robbie Ryan's the cinematographer who was an Oscar nominated for The Favorite. He also shot Marriage Story, among many other films. But obviously one of its assets. And some, I'd say, pretty good performances from Joaquin Phoenix and Gaby Hoffmann, who I've long been a fan of. And I think it's interesting that she's dealing with this child, as she herself, was a child actor who has since grown up. But I really like...
Oh, the actual actor.
Gaby Hoffmann, yeah.
Oh.
And I really like her screen presence. She's probably my favorite in this. That said, I had a little bit of a difficult time settling into it because I think the least interesting story, as I tend to find children grating on film, especially if they're precocious. And we have Woody Norman playing Jesse, who is like a sweet kid, and there are poignant moments, especially in the second half of the film. But I was so tired of his ass by the time we get there. Because Johnny, that's Joaquin Phoenix, is trying to reconnect with this kid that doesn't really remember him. This kid likes to do... He's experiencing some own trauma because his parents have divorced, and his dad, played by Scoot McNairy, suffers from bipolar disorder, and he, saw some things that probably caused him to be wise beyond his years a little bit. And his mother kind of leans into him exploring his emotional interiority in healthy ways considering the circumstances. But the kid likes to pretend that he's an orphan and then interview his mother about her past dead children. Which he tries to pull on Joaquin Phoenix, who doesn't really want to. He really resists that.
That sounds like something I would have done.
It has, Mike Mills, across his filmography, tends to kind of lean into familial dysfunctions, either focusing on the parents and kind of attachment styles. And that is very much evident here in kind of a very low-key way, especially if you compare it to his last film, 20th Century Women, which I think was kind of overly stuffed with these things. This feels very nicely scaled back in ways where we can deal with complexities in a simple narrative. That said, I think the more interesting part is really this documentary that they're actually filming. Joaquin is playing a character, but as they're going around to all these cities interviewing these children, I think the best moments are, these kids are giving authentic answers about how they understand themselves and how they think about the future. And Joaquin has two crew members, Roxanne and Fern, played by Molly Webster, and Jaboukie Young White. We've seen Jaboukie's stand-up somewhere because I think he's very funny, but he really had nothing to do. But it's the answers that these kids give, which the credits also lean into, that I think are the most interesting elements of the film. As I said, it reminded me of a couple things. It reminded me of this film I saw at Cannes this year, directed by Louis Garrel, a really odd film called The Conquest, which is a sequel to a previous film he did, which is about this secretive organization of children around the world that are trying to come up with ideas to assist with avoiding apocalypse and basically kind of eradicating adults to save the environment. It reminded me of that because of how it's fashioning children and how they think about their own future and the environmental apocalypse we're likely going to have. It also reminded me, there are probably many examples like this, but because Criterion recently released Martin Bell's documentaries Streetwise and Tiny about interviewing these children and people, I believe in Seattle, that felt very much like this. However, thematically, it works very well, as in Joaquin is this man who has kind of been paralyzed since his divorce and not really kind of realizing himself. Him and his sister are really mired in the past, and there are a lot of flashbacks with the dead mother, Scoot McNairy, before his breakdown, and kind of this juxtaposition of the children looking to the future and the adults mired in the past, and how we all just kind of really need to come on. Yeah.
What would you give this film?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to say about it, but I would give it 3 out of 5. It is a well-made film. I do really like Mike Mills. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Bye.
Bye.